Here we have an SL with an original door check strap making an awful crunching noise, almost like the car got in an accident and pushed the fender in, but that's not what happened. It's this original check strap, which is just all kinds worn out, and you can tell it's original because it's got the strap here painted the same color as the car, whereas the new ones are not painted. So we're going to pop the door panel and change that check strap out. Next are going to be the screws holding that piece on and that piece on. Those two trim pieces removed. I'm going to move to popping that little SRS badge off where there's a screw underneath. There's that trim piece. There's the screw in there. And then inside the door compartment, there's a screw under that little black plastic cover that we need to pry off. Another Phillips screw on the opposite end of the glove compartment on the door. There's a screw on the bottom corner of the speaker trim piece, and then you'll push that slightly forward towards the front of the car while pulling out. So after all that, we're going to go to the bottom edge of the door panel with a plastic trim removal tool and gently pry outward, and then lift the panel up off the door. Alright, so there's the plug for the memory seat, memory mirror, all that good stuff, that control. And you can see that tab right there in the center of the image. That's essentially what retains the plug. So I just used a right angle pick to lift up that tab gingerly while rocking the plug back and forth, and then it popped out. Next is the interior door handle cable, and what I'm going to do is gently lift up on that rod while gently prying apart that clip a little bit, and it should pop out. And then to actually disconnect the cable from the door panel, you lift up that little tab, which is pressing into that part, and then of course the cable will just slip through. Here's the new door check. There's the part number. This is going to be removing that speaker module to make the door check strap accessible to remove it once you remove the vapor barrier. Alright, so next, just going to pop off this little cover. That'll give us access to that pin. And then there's two bolts there going into the check strap. Another one right there. And then it'll just come out through there. A little pin for the check strap. It's like a little C-clip at the end. I'm just going to use a right angle pick to pry that outwards, pop it off, and then push up that pin. To get out that retaining pin for the door check, what I did, because I found it difficult to just pull out that pin with pliers, I actually took, what was this, a Torx bolt, but like an Allen bolt would work, and I actually set this end at the point on the bottom of the pin, and then very carefully pounded upward with this heavy hammer, because that pin just didn't want to budge with the pliers, and I would scratch up the paint trying to wiggle that pin out, and ultimately this is what worked. So you may want to employ the same method if you have trouble getting that pin out. And just like that, new door check. There's the first leg, and there we go. Just how it should be.